As we prepare the babies to go back to school, we definitely want them to think about the importance of literacy. And when we speak about literacy, we want to make sure that we are encompassing reading and writing, not just reading, but reading comprehension, oral and written expression. So this month, we are focusing on our authors, our literary creatives, and their contributions to their respective communities. Once again, guys, we're kicking off the summer. We're kicking off the summer and going into back to school with literary creatives. And what better way to do that than to have our independent creatives who, honey, they write some steamy stuff. Miss Teresa, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very, very, very well. And I'm so glad that you were here and you're kicking off this special segment of this consulting time. So tell us a little bit about you and then we're going to dive right in.
Well, let's see. I am originally from Boston, Massachusetts. Went to school at North Carolina Central University, three-time graduate. Decided after all those years of education that I wanted to go into writing. Started off from a tragedy. I had a lot of death at one time. And so someone came to me and said, God said that you're supposed to be writing. It's supposed to be therapeutic for you. Lo and behold, they was given the right prophecy because it worked well for me as far as therapy, but it also created something in me that I didn't know that I had inside of me. So I've been writing now for about 6 or 7 years. I've been in education for about going on year 17. And it's been a wonderful, wonderful ride. The more I write, the more beautiful people I meet like you. And I just love being in the industry. I love helping the youth. So this segment is awesome. This is down my alley.
Yes.
So I appreciate you for doing this and for having me.
Teresa, first and foremost, thank you so much. I think that literary creatives is a lane of its own. And I agree with you. We have to teach the babies in the industry. And what better way to do it than with things that matter? Because literacy is important. So, what do you need in your writing space to kind of get you started and help you stay focused?
Peace and quiet. I need peace and quiet. I haven't published anything for the last 2 years because I had moved into this really small space where I didn't have like office space anymore. And so writing was very difficult because I had my kids going back and forth. You can hear the people outside, and I just couldn't function. But I just recently moved into a home where I do actually have an office now. So it's about to go down.
Oh, girl, I like how that sounds. It's about to go down.
Go down. Yes.
Okay, so let's dive into writing. Now, what comes first for you? The plot or the characters?
Definitely the plot. I have to make sure that it's going to be something spicy or juicy, a story that, some writers have similarities, but I want to make sure that there's a plot or a twist that nobody has created that I know of. I mean, I haven't read every book in the world, but I try as much as possible to be unique. So that's how I got into Christian fiction writing, where I call it Christian fiction, thriller, mystery, suspense. I name my own category.
Well, and so let's talk about that then, because one of the things that we find across the board is that everybody wants to be a copycat. Everybody wants to mimic something. But Christian fiction, that's something that, in my opinion, you had to be inspired or led to do. So, are there any books or authors that inspired you to go that way?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I was reading Kimberly Lawson Roby books since I was a kid. Victoria Christopher Murray was one of my also all-time favorites. And then she ended up becoming my mentor, which was even more awesome. Once I started writing, I was like, oh my God, I get to meet the people that I was actually reading their books. And even though Zane is not a Christian fiction writer, I read a lot of her books as a child, and I like how she does her twists and turns. So
Yes.
kind of got some of that ideas of how to spin a story with reading individuals' books like herself. So yeah,
Okay.
I didn't always read Christian fiction.
Okay.
Um, so those are the two, Victoria and Kimmler, those are the two that I read the most.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I was more of a Nancy Drew Hardy Boys type reader when I was a kid.
Oh my goodness. Okay, okay. I used to love the Babysitters Club. The Babysitters Club was just it. That was it. And
Yeah,
then, once you get into high school, you get into the Beowulfs and the Romeo and Juliets and the Macbeth. And it's just like, why? But later on, you understand why.
right.
All right, Teresa. Now, this is where you get to brag and boast on you. How many books have you written, published and unpublished?
I have 5 published and I have about 8 unpublished that
Okay.
I started and didn't finish.
Mm-hmm.
Came back to, like, I got some stories that I started maybe like 5 years ago and I'm just now going back to. So yeah,
Okay.
I hope to at least publish 4 more this year. That's the goal.
Whew. Okay, okay. You got it.
Yeah.
Which is your favorite?
Of my books,
Mm-hmm.
um, Delayed but Not Denied, as far as the fiction.
Okay.
And I also have a book called Positive Vibes Only, which is an affirmation book. I really love that book because I poured out a lot into that. And there's a part 2 coming to that as well for dating.
Okay, okay. So let's talk about delayed, but not denied. What part of that book did you have the hardest time writing?
Well, once I got mentored, because my that First Life series, mentoring came like midway. So like my very first book with that, I wrote it. People were kind of fascinated with the story, but it wasn't your basic writing skills. So once I got mentorship, and by the time I got to Delayed but Not Denied, I knew exactly what to do,
Okay.
how to do it. So I want to probably say trying to think of the most difficult part. The most difficult part, because it was Christian fiction,
Mm-hmm.
was watering down sex scenes.
Yep. I can understand that. I can understand that. And kudos to you, because I often think about, what we see on the other industry side of things in music and things of that nature. And a lot of times it's hard. It's hard for people to set themselves apart in such a way that isn't self-absorbed. So
Right.
I definitely kudos to you for that. Kudos to you.
Yeah,
How
that took some
many? Oh, go ahead.
concentration. But yeah, that took some concentration because
Okay.
it's hard to describe a man and woman making love
Mhm.
without being very,
Getting passionate and getting hot.
yes, I skipped over a lot of stuff.
Got it. How many hours a day would you say that you write?
When I was writing consistently,
Mm-hmm.
my goal was always to write at least 1,500 words per day.
Wow. And what time of day do you feel like you do the most writing?
When I'm frustrated, so probably like after work.
Understood. 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 Okay. Main question of the hour. What do you think is the best way to improve writing skills?
Reading. In order
And
to be a better,
marriage.
in order to be a better writer, you have to be an avid reader.
Okay.
Because you learn so much from reading other people's books, and don't limit it to just to one genre either.
Okay.
Because there are so many skilled people in science fiction. Sci-fi is the big thing, young adult. So you can learn a lot from reading other writers' work.
Okay. Now, what do the words writer's block mean to you? Because that's something that you hear a lot. I got writer's block. What does that mean to you?
Well, I guess that's what I've had the last 2 years. It's just when you can't, like, you're writing, but it doesn't make sense, or you don't know where to put, delete or put a certain part, or like I wrote one story and I think I'm like 45,000 words into it. And finally I looked at it and I was like, this don't make any sense.
Okay.
So that's writer's block, because I really don't know where to go, now that I have all of that down on paper. So
Okay. So now on the other side of things, what do the words literary success mean to you, and how do you picture it?
literary success is when, people look at numbers. Even though I had large numbers with my books, that isn't what has impressed me about what I've done. I'm impressed by the readers that stick with me, that email me and say, listen, what you doing? When is your next book coming out? Like, we've been waiting for part 4 of this, or we've been waiting for part 2 of this. Like,
Yes,
what's the
ma'am.
holdup? They really want to hear your story because they like your writing. So although you may say sell thousands and thousands of books, that's great for the numbers, but it's the fan base that I care about the most.
Wow. So the qualification and not the quantification, because you can be quantified but not qualified. And I love that. All right, Teresa, here's your philosophical moment. Share something about yourself that your readers don't know.
Oh, wow. So my readers don't, yeah, my readers don't know that behind the scenes, I am a little comedian. My daddy said I missed my calling when I didn't go into comedy. You know me personally, so you've been around me.
Honey, she got bored when I say she, woo! And it's so, and but you know what I think it is? Personally, I think the reason you didn't go into comedy is because what you're saying is true. And it comes across as funny only to the people that understand and know. And I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to take it and leave it.
Yeah, my dad said, he said, what you doing? He said, you need to be on somebody's stage telling jokes.
Yes.
How are we getting to writing books? So
indeed. I agree.
That's one secret. The other secret is when I'm in good shape and taking care of my voice, I can sing. I ain't really been taking care of it lately, but when it's in control, and when I've been singing out of church choirs and stuff for a couple of years, so it's due to the pandemic, so it's
okay. That's all right. So guys, y'all know we're gonna bring her back and we're gonna put her on the spot. We're gonna have a live talent show. That's what we're gonna do. Yeah. Yes. So Teresa, you have been amazing. You are kicking off this magnificent season of literary creatives so that our parents and the children that are going back to school can really hear from people that do this, and to give them something to go to their teachers and say, hey, I heard from an author and this is what they said that they do, and maybe we can set the tone in the classroom sometimes like this. Maybe help me create my writing space, and my reading space. And so I'm so glad you were able to be the first up. So can you let everybody know where they can find you on social media, but also anything that you want to plug that's coming up? Go right ahead.
Okay, so if you go on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, I'm under the host, Teresa B. I also have several fan pages on Facebook, Author Teresa B Productions, the Heat Seekers Magazine, the Educator Magazine, USA. You can reach me via email, info@teresabhall.com, my website, teresabhall.com, and my website for my production company, tbproductions.org.
Guys, you heard it. You heard it. So run it back, write it down, and definitely reach out. She left a couple of things off, but I will say this. She's appropriate for the setting that she's in, and she knows what she's doing. So stay prepared and always know that literacy is important. It is comprised of the reading and the writing. Oral expression and written expression definitely matters. Thanks so much.